Welcome back, everyone, to the Bryk Breakdown. I am Matt Bryk, your host. How's everyone doing today? I'm doing just fine. Had a nice weekend. Hope you did too. Let's get right into the news. The Colts just signed Rashad Perryman, the veteran. I guess they think he has a little bit more juice left, so there you go for the Colts. The Bills signed Leonard Floyd to a one-year deal. That's a good signing for the Bills, trying to beef up that defense. It came out earlier today that the Vikings almost traded Dalvin Cook to the Dolphins for the third-round pick that the Dolphins drafted Devin Achane with. So I guess it looks, as of right now, that the Vikings aren't fooling around and they're trying to trade Dalvin Cook because, as of right now, they could straight up just cut him, or they could trade him. At this point, I feel like they just don't want to pay him, but I guess we'll see. Sorry about that. The Madden cover will be announced Wednesday, so I'm sure I'll talk about that next episode. Rumor has it that it's going to be Josh Allen, so keep your eyes out. Norma Hunt, the mother of the Chiefs CEO Clark Hunt, has passed away. She was the only woman to see every single Super Bowl. Rest in peace, Norma Hunt. All right, today we're going to break down the NFC West and have another top 10 list. This is another good division. I don't think the Cardinals are going to be a good team. I don't think the 49ers are going to be as good as what people think they are. I think the Seahawks are going to be underrated. And the Rams, not that great. So let's get right into it. Start out with the Cardinals. I have the Cardinals going 2-15 this year. I have them week 1 at the Commanders, winning week 1. Week 2, I have them losing to the Giants. Week 3, at home against Dallas. That's a loss. Week 4 in San Francisco, I have that as a loss. Week 5 versus the Bengals, loss. Week 6 at Rams, loss. Week 7 at Seattle, loss. Week 8 versus the Baltimore Ravens, loss. Week 9 at the Browns, loss. Week 10 versus the Falcons, that's a win. The rest are losses, but I'll do it anyway. Week 11 at Houston, loss. Week 12 versus the Rams, loss. Week 13 at Steelers, loss. Week 14 is their bye week. Week 15 versus the Niners, that's a loss. Week 16 at the Bears, that's a loss. Week 17 at the Eagles, that's a loss. Week 18 versus the Seahawks, that's a loss. I don't think this is going to be a very good team. I don't like Jonathan Gannon now because he sucked in the Super Bowl. I don't think he has a good defensive mind. I don't think he's going to be that great of a coach. Kyler Murray, kind of in shambles, playing too much Call of Duty. DeAndre Hopkins, gone. I just don't think this is going to be that great of a team. But let's look at their additions and losses over the offseason real quick. All right, so obviously we all know that they recently cut DeAndre Hopkins, so he is a free agent. They lost Chosen Anderson to the Dolphins, Marcus Golden to the Steelers, Byron Murphy to the Vikings, Cody Ford to the Bengals, Tristan Hill to the Browns, Zach Allen to the Broncos, Ben Neiman to the Titans, Camus Grugier-Hill to the Panthers. Trace McSorley to the Patriots. Michael Dogby to the Jags. Manny Jones to the Steelers. And Joshua Miles to the Falcons. Let's see who they got over this offseason. They got Kaiser White from my Philadelphia Eagles. LJ Coulier from the Seahawks. Dennis Daly from the Titans. Josh Woods from the Lions. Zach Pascal from the Eagles. That's a Jonathan Gannon guy, I guess. Elijah Wilkinson from the Falcons. Carlos Watkins from the Cowboys. Jeff Driscoll from the Texans. Matt Hack from the Colts. Jackson Barton from the Raiders. Javante Moffat from the Falcons. Kevin Strong from the Titans. Chris Barnes from the Packers. Oof, this one's a tough one. Hajalte Froholt from the Browns. Ben Still from the Browns. Rashad Fenton from the Falcons. Chris Boyd from the Vikings. They also, kept Greg Dortch and David Blau. Let's see who else. Kelvin Beachum. So, yeah, like I said, don't think this is going to be a great team. They did just draft Paris Johnson Jr. in the first round, and they also drafted Michael Wilson, the wide receiver. I don't know. I don't see this being that great of a team. We can talk about the fantasy aspects of it. You have Kyler Murray. If you're a believer, go ahead. Go draft Kyler Murray. I don't see why not. But losing DeAndre Hopkins is not great for Kyler Murray. You have Marquise Brown there, and you have, I guess, Michael Wilson and Zach Ertz, but I don't think that's going to be enough for fantasy for Kyler Murray. Marquise Brown, I'm sure he'll get most of the targets and the receptions, the receptions and yards there, but is that going to be enough? I don't know how great this offense is going to be. Zach Ertz, he's getting older. I don't know. I think I'd be out on Zach Ertz this year. James Conner, another guy I don't really think I would believe in. All right, let's talk about the Los Angeles Rams. I have the Rams going 7-10 this year. Let's break down their schedule. At week 1 at Seattle, that's a loss. Week 2 versus the 49ers, I have that as a loss. Week 3, Monday Night Football in Cincinnati versus the Bengals, I have that as a loss. Week 4 in Indianapolis, that's a win. Week 5 versus the Eagles, I have that as a loss. Week 6 versus the Cardinals, that's a win. Week 7 I have versus the Steelers, I have that as a loss. Week 8 in Dallas versus the Cowboys, I have that as a loss. Week 9 in Green Bay, I have that as a win. Week 10 is their bye week. Week 11 at home versus the Seahawks, I have that as a win, so I have them splitting with the Seahawks. Week 12 in Arizona, I have that as a win. Week 13 versus the Browns, I have that as a loss. Week 14 at the Ravens in Baltimore, I have that as a loss. Week 15 versus the Commanders, I have that as a win. Week 16, Thursday Night Football versus the Saints. This could be like a game day flex because Rams, Saints, Week 16. I have that as a win. Week 17 in New York versus the Giants, I have that as a loss. Week 18 in San Francisco versus the Niners, I have that as a loss. This draft, they added Stetson Bennett, and they got Puka Nacua. I'm a Georgia Bulldog fan, so don't sleep on Stetson Bennett. I know he's 25. I know he's an old man, but I like that he's on the Rams. I think he can learn a lot from Matthew Stafford, and I think he could be a good starter. Won the championship 2 years in a row. That's not a fluke. All right, let's look at who they've got from free agency. So they lost Jalen Ramsey to the Dolphins, Allen Robinson from the Steelers. I think they're okay with that. Baker Mayfield from the Bucs, Bobby Wagner to the Seahawks, A'Shawn Robinson from the Giants, Matt Gay to the Colts, Taylor Rapp to the Bills. Brandon Powell to the Vikings. Riley Dixon to the Broncos. David Long to the Raiders. Matt Orzek to the Packers. Chandler Brewer to the Jags. John Wolford to the Bucks. Trevin Howard to the Bills. Jacob Harris to the Jags. Greg Gaines to the Bucks. David Edwards to the Bills. Nick Scott to the Bengals. And they obviously just today lost Leonard Floyd to the Bills. Let's see who they got this year. They got Hunter Long from the Dolphins. Brett Rypien from the Broncos. That's it. Rams were sleeping this offseason. They got 2 guys. They traded for Hunter Long and then signed Brett Rypien. I guess they kept a couple of their guys, like Brian Allen, Coleman Shelton, but they still got a good amount of guys on that are free agents. Marquise Copeland, they signed him. I don't know, not looking great. Let's look at the fantasy aspect. You have Matthew Stafford. I think their offense could be solid this year. Who knows? You have Cooper Kupp back. He's all you really need, right? That's how they won the Super Bowl. So I'm in for Stafford as like a nice backup. Why not? Yeah. Cooper Kupp can clearly be like the first pick in the draft. I wouldn't care. I would totally understand and respect that. Cooper Kupp is just unbelievable. I know he's getting older, but I really don't think that's a problem. I get that there's an injury situation. You know, I'm sure he's healthy now, but I mean, if you're a little nervous taking Kupp, I understand, because I don't like guys that were just injured last year, because it usually takes a year for them to come back full force. They have Tyler Higbee. I mean, if you really need a tight end and you're like last round, sure, go get Tyler Higbee. Why not? I feel like Stafford really likes to target Higbee. So Cam Akers. Now, Cam Akers is a crazy story. He like tore his Achilles and then like came back, and the team was like, we're going to get rid of him, and then they didn't. And it's just wild. Yeah, don't sleep on Cam Akers. I feel like he can be something for the future. I guess we'll see. All right. Let's talk about the Seattle Seahawks. I have the Seattle Seahawks going 11-6. Week 1, they play the Rams. I have them winning. Week 2, in Detroit, I have the Seahawks losing to the Lions. That's going to be a great game. Week 3 versus the Panthers, I have them winning. Week 4, in New York against the Giants, that's Monday Night Football. I have that as a loss. Week 5 is their bye week. Week 6, in Cincinnati against the Bengals, I have that as a loss. Week 7 versus the Cardinals, that's a win. Week 8 versus the Browns, that's a win. Week 9 at Baltimore versus the Ravens, that's a win. Week 10 versus the Commanders, that's a win. Week 11 at the Rams, that's a loss. Week 12, Sunday Night Football versus the 49ers at home, that's a win. Week 13 in Dallas against the Cowboys, Thursday Night Football, I have that as a win. Week 14 away in San Francisco, I have that as a loss. Week 15 at home versus the Eagles, I have that as a loss. Week 16 at the Tennessee Titans, I have that as a win. Week 17 versus the Steelers, I have that as a win. Week 18 in Arizona against the Cardinals, I have that as a win. In this draft, they added Jackson Smith and Jigba. I think he's going to be great for this team. You know, in the future, he might not. I guess we'll see if he blows up or not. His rookie year, you have a lot of mouths to feed with DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, but now Geno Smith, who just got paid a lot of money, has Jackson Smith and Jigba to throw to, so that'll be exciting to see. They also drafted Zach Charbonnet, which was interesting because they already have Ken Walker, and Ken Walker was a beast last year. So I guess they're splitting the carries between Walker and Charbonnet. If we look at the fantasy aspects for this team. You obviously have Geno Smith. You're either a believer or a denier. I'm a believer. I liked Geno Smith last year. I think he clearly showed up, and I mean, I get it. Like how many teams has he played on, and how many failures has he had? But last year, you can't deny that he was a phenomenal uh, quarterback. He played at a very high level, and for fantasy, I believe he was top 5. Like he really showed up. So I'm really happy for him. I have Geno Smith in my dynasty league, so I'm pumped. I actually traded Marcus Mariota for him because a guy needed a quarterback. So I was like, okay, yeah, I'll take Geno. Why not? So he's my backup quarterback right now. But I'm excited for Geno Smith. I think he's going to do well this year for sure. So yeah, if you like Geno Smith, go ahead and draft him. If you don't, I recommend watch some highlights from last year, think about it, and make your own decision. But at the same time, just know that I think he's going to get underrated again, and I think he's going to show up. Yep. Okay. DK Metcalf, obviously you're going to want to draft him. He's a man amongst boys. He just embarrasses everyone on any defense. Draft DK Metcalf. Tyler Lockett, yeah, sure. If you really want to, I feel like he's like a wide receiver too, but he always puts up numbers. So yeah, if you want to go and draft Tyler Lockett, why not? JSN, I don't know. I don't think I would target him. I would in a dynasty league for sure, but I wouldn't target him in a redraft league because I just don't know how many targets he's going to get. I guess we'll have to see. But I'm excited to see him play. He's a great wide receiver, so we'll see. And you have Ken Walker. I liked Ken Walker last year. I'm not sure. I want to say he got hurt, but I don't quite remember. But yeah, he was just a beast last year. So, but they also just drafted Zach Charbonnet. So again, they're probably going to be splitting carries. So that's not the best for fantasy managers. If you're going to draft Walker, you just have to know that Charbonnet is probably going to vulture, maybe 5 touchdowns, and you have to be prepared for that. So, all right, let's get right into the last team, the San Francisco 49ers. I have the San Francisco 49ers going 9-8. I'm just not a believer in Brock Purdy. I think he was a big fluke. I just do. I think they were all on a high last year, winning game after game after game. But I just don't. I'm not a believer. Simple. He was Mr. Irrelevant for a reason, and I think that's going to show this year. That's just how I feel. Week 1 in Pittsburgh, I have them beating the Steelers. Week 2 at LA against the Rams, that's a win. Week 3, Thursday Night Football against the Giants, that's a loss. Week 4 at home against the Cardinals, that's a win. Week 5 at home versus Dallas, Sunday Night Football, that's a loss. Week 6 at Cleveland, that's a loss. Week 7 at Minnesota against the Vikings, Monday Night Football, that's a loss. Week 8 versus the Bengals, that's a loss. Week 9 is their bye. Week 10 in Jacksonville against the Jags, that's a win. Week 11 versus the Bucks, that's a win at home. Week 12 at Seattle, Sunday Night Football, that's a loss. Week 13 in Philadelphia, that's the NFC Championship game rematch. I have that as a loss. Week 14 versus Seattle at home, that's a win. Week 15 at Arizona, that's a win. Week 16 at home versus the Baltimore Ravens, Monday Night Football edition, I guess. I'm not quite sure if Christmas is on a Monday, but it's on Christmas, and I'm having that as a loss. Week 17 versus the Commanders in Washington, that's a win. Week 18 versus the Rams, that's a win. They drafted Jake Moody in the 3rd round, the kicker from Michigan. So huge, huge draft pick for the 49ers. Let's look at their fantasy impact. Again, I'm not a believer in Brock Purdy. If you're a believer, go ahead and draft him. I don't think he's the future of anything. I think he's overrated. That's just how I feel. I feel he was drafted last in the draft for a reason, and I just think people are going to go, Christian McCaffrey. Go ahead and draft Christian McCaffrey. He's going to be a beast. He runs the ball a lot, obviously, and he's really good at it. Always has been. So, yeah, I would draft McCaffrey. I guess I would be a little hesitant because he has gotten hurt in the past. But, this is fantasy football. People are going to get hurt. George Kittle, probably a top 5 tight end in this league, top 3. Since I don't believe in Purdy, I'm not I don't trust any of these 49ers quarterbacks, whether it be Purdy, Lance, Sam Darnold. I'm not a believer in any of these 49ers quarterbacks. So, in my opinion, I'm staying away from anyone in the Niners because I'm just not a believer at all. That doesn't mean that they're not going to score fantasy points. I'm sure they will, but I want the best of the best, not the 49ers. Okay. Debo, yeah, he runs the ball, he catches it. So obviously he is getting older. So remember that, but I feel like, I don't know. I guess we'll see. I think Ayuk might have a better year than Debo. So I feel like I might rather have Ayuk with that. That might be a hot take, but I don't know. All right. Caesars over under regular season wins. The Cardinals have 5. I have the under. The Rams have 6.5. I have the over. The Seahawks have 9. I have the over. And the 49ers have 11.5. I have the under. So for today, I thought for the top 10 list, we would do top 10 movie characters that would play fantasy football. I liked doing the TV characters, so I thought I would do the movie characters. So this is the top 10 list of movie characters playing fantasy football. Number 10, I have Jay Gatsby from The Great Gatsby. Leonardo DiCaprio played him. That man has his money everywhere. He has it in New York. He has it in Vegas. He has it in Los Angeles. That man, I feel like he would get into fantasy football, even though he's a busy man. I feel like he would sit down and really enjoy watching Red Zone. Number 9, I have Will Hunting from Good Will Hunting. Clearly, he was very smart, and I feel like if he took the time, he would very enjoy fantasy football, and I feel like he would just get a lot of statistics together and try to map out who to draft properly and who to trade and all that. So I think that would have been fun to watch. But yep, Will Hunting at number 9. Number 8, I have the Joker. Now, which Joker, you may ask? Heath Ledger, because he was the best Joker, hands down. He was very smart, obviously, and he plans things very well. So I have the Joker at number 8. There you go. I think he would plan very well during the fantasy year, and that's why I have Joker at number 8. Number 7, I have Spock. Spock is obviously another very smart character. Spock, I feel like knows a lot more than the normal fantasy football manager, so I feel like he would have an edge above a lot. So I have Spock at 7. Number 6, I have the Dude. The Dude abides from The Big Lebowski. I feel like he would love fantasy football and he would really enjoy it. Yeah, why not? I would love to have the Dude in my fantasy football league. Number 5, I have Han Solo from Star Wars. That man is a betting man. He likes to play games. He's always betting poker, whatever it is in Star Wars. And why not? Han Solo at number 5. Number 4, I have Tony Stark, Iron Man himself. Robert Downey Jr. played an amazing Tony Stark, yeah, and he was very smart, and I feel like he would be very analytical with his fantasy football team. That would have been fun to watch. But yeah, Tony Stark, number 4. Number 3, Hermione Granger from Harry Potter. She was brilliant. She would get really into it, I feel like, and I would have loved to have seen something like that. Obviously, we're talking about silliness here with fantasy football and movie characters, but Hermione, man, to have Hermione in your own fantasy football league would be pretty cool. Number 2, I don't even know why I put this, but I thought it was funny, and I thought, you know what? Yeah, Optimus Prime from Transformers, uh, voiced by Liam Neeson. Optimus Prime. I feel like he knows a little bit. I feel like he has secrets. I feel like he knows just a little bit more than the average Joe. So I feel like Optimus Prime would get very heated in fantasy football, but I would respect him. Number 1 fantasy football movie character is Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, played by Benedict Cumberbatch. Let's be real. He would just look at all the probabilities uh, in his mind or whatever and figure out the best fantasy football team to draft or trade or whatever. And yeah, that would be pretty cool. So yeah, that was the top 10 movie fictional characters playing fantasy football. Time for the quote of the day. I usually like to close it out with the quote of the day. Today's quote of the day is, "Our happiness depends on wisdom all the way." That's Sophocles there for you. That's going to be it for me today. I hope you all enjoyed this episode. You can follow me on Twitter at Bryk Breakdown. That's the podcast. I'd really appreciate it. You can like and subscribe. Share this with your friends, your family. You can follow my personal Twitter account at BrykMatt, at BRYKMATT on Twitter. Yeah, like, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. Thanks for listening and have a great day.